The Aryans, an ancient group shrouded in mystery, myth, and controversy. For centuries, their story has sparked curiosity and debate. Who were the Aryans? Were they fierce conquerors, peaceful migrants, or something else entirely? From their migrations across Central Asia to their influence on ancient India, their legacy shaped languages, religions, and civilizations. Stay with us as we unravel the true history of the Aryan ancient civilization. The origins of the Aryans, the Indo-European puzzle. The term Aryan originates from the Sanskrit word Arya, meaning noble. Linguists trace the Aryans to the Proto-Indo-European people who lived around 4000 to 2500 BCE. These communities likely inhabited the Pontic-Caspian steppe, an area spanning modern-day Ukraine, southern Russia, and Kazakhstan. The Indo-European language connection. One of the most enduring legacies of the Aryans is their linguistic influence. The Indo-European language family, which includes Sanskrit, Greek, Latin, Persian, and many modern European languages, shares common grammatical structures, vocabulary roots, and myths. William Jones first recognized these connections in 1786, laying the foundation for modern comparative linguistics. Archaeological insights and the Kurgan hypothesis. The Kurgan hypothesis, proposed by Maria Gimbutas in the 1950s, suggests that the Aryans were part of the Kurgan culture, nomadic herders from the Pontic steppe. Archaeological digs reveal kurgans, burial mounds, stone stelae, and artifacts like wheeled carts, suggesting advanced mobility and social organization. Genetic evidence and the Yamnaya culture. Genetic studies, particularly of Y-DNA haplogroups like R1A1A, support the migration of Indo-European groups into Europe and South Asia. Research indicates that the Yamnaya culture, known for its domestication of horses and use of wagons, played a crucial role in spreading Indo-European languages. The Great Migration, moving across continents. Between 2000 and 1500 BCE, Aryan tribes embarked on one of the most significant migrations in human history. This migration was not a single coordinated event, but rather waves of movement driven by climatic shifts, population growth, and the search for fertile lands and grazing grounds. The steppe exodus. The migration began in the Pontic-Caspian steppe, where the Yamnaya culture had domesticated horses and developed wheeled vehicles, enabling greater mobility than earlier civilizations. Archaeological evidence from sites like Samarra and Sintashta reveals chariot burials and bronze weapons, suggesting that the Aryans had both the means and motivation to move across vast distances. Western migration into Europe. One branch of the Aryans moved westward into Europe, influencing the Celts in Western Europe, the Italic tribes in the Italian peninsula, the Germanic tribes in Northern Europe. These migrations contributed to the spread of Indo-European languages, the introduction of horse-drawn vehicles, and shared mythological motifs such as the sky god, common to many Indo-European traditions. Southern migration into Iran. Another branch traveled south into the Iranian plateau, merging with local Elamite populations. This union laid the groundwork for the emergence of the Medes and the Persians, who later formed the Achaemenid Empire. The Avesta, the sacred text of Zoroastrianism, which shares linguistic and mythological roots with the Vedas of ancient India. The word Iran itself derives from Aryanam, meaning land of the Aryans. Southeastern migration into South Asia. The most profound cultural impact of the Aryan migration was felt in South Asia. By crossing the Hindu Kush Mountains, Aryan tribes entered the Indus Valley, modern-day Pakistan and northwestern India. Archaeological sites like Gandhara and Swat Valley reveal fire altars, pottery, and horse remains, aligning with descriptions found in Vedic texts. Upon arrival, the Aryans encountered urban centers abandoned by the declining Indus Valley civilization. They settled along the Sapta Sindhu, land of 7 rivers, establishing agrarian societies while maintaining nomadic traditions. The impact of migration. The Aryan migration reshaped Eurasia by spreading Indo-European languages across Europe, Iran, and India. introducing horse-drawn chariots and bronze weapons to new regions, influencing mythologies, religions, and social structures across 3 continents. The Vedic period, foundations of ancient Indian society. The Vedic period, 1500 to 500 BCE, marks a pivotal chapter in the history of ancient India. It was during this time that the Aryans settled in the fertile plains of northern India, laying the foundations for Hindu philosophy, societal structures, and cultural traditions that persist to this day. The Vedas, the sacred texts. The Vedas, the oldest scriptures of Hinduism, were composed during the early Vedic period. These texts were orally transmitted for centuries before being written down in Vedic Sanskrit. The 4 Vedas are Rig Veda, a collection of 1,028 hymns praising deities like Indra, god of war, Agni, god of fire, and Varuna, guardian of cosmic order. Samaveda, focused on chants and melodies for ritual sacrifices. Yajurveda, contained instructions for performing sacred rituals. Atharvaveda, included spells, charms, and practical guidance for everyday life. The Rigveda in particular provides insights into early Aryan life, describing nomadic pastoralism, tribal warfare, and spiritual beliefs. The caste system, social hierarchy. The Vedic Aryans organized their society into a 4-tiered structure known as Varna. 1. Brahmins, priests and scholars responsible for conducting rituals. 2nd. Kshatriyas, warriors and rulers who protected and governed society. 3. Vaishyas, farmers, traders, and artisans who sustained the economy. 4. Shudras, laborers and servants who supported the upper classes. Initially, this system was fluid and based on occupation rather than birth. However, during the later Vedic period, it became more rigid and hereditary. Religious practices and rituals. The Vedic religion revolved around nature-based deities and elaborate rituals. Fire sacrifices, yajnas, were central to pleasing gods and securing prosperity. Priests chanted Sanskrit hymns to invoke Indra, the destroyer of enemies, and Agni, the messenger between gods and humans. Offerings of milk, butter, grains, and soma, a sacred plant extract, were made to the sacred fire, political and social organization. The Aryans lived in tribal communities called janas, each led by a chief or raja. These chiefs were elected by tribal assemblies known as the Sabha, Council of Elders, and the Samiti, General Assembly. The early Vedic period saw egalitarian structures with women participating in intellectual discussions and religious ceremonies. However, by the later Vedic period, patriarchal norms became dominant. Economic shifts and agricultural practices. Initially nomadic pastoralists, the Aryans transitioned to settled agriculture along the Indus and Ganges rivers. They cultivated wheat, barley, rice, and pulses. Iron plows, introduced around 1000 BCE, enhanced crop yields. Trade flourished, with goods like cotton, spices, and precious stones exchanged within South Asia and Mesopotamia. Societal structure and daily life. The Aryans were primarily nomadic pastoralists who later settled in agrarian communities. Cattle were a symbol of wealth, and horse-drawn chariots provided military advantage. Villages were governed by tribal councils, Sabha and Samiti, with rulers, rajas, leading military and administrative affairs. Women enjoyed relatively high status in early Vedic society, participating in religious rituals and philosophical debates. However, their autonomy diminished during the later Vedic period. Aryan influence beyond India. While the Aryans left their strongest imprint on South Asia, their migration influenced other ancient civilizations. Iran. The Avestan language shares similarities with Vedic Sanskrit. The term Iran is derived from Aryanum, meaning land of the Aryans. Europe. Indo-European languages spread across Greece, Rome, and Northern Europe, influencing myths, agricultural practices, and legal traditions. Myths, misconceptions, and misuse. The term Aryan has been surrounded by myths, misconceptions, and dangerous misuses throughout history. Understanding the true historical and linguistic origins of the Aryans helps to dispel these inaccuracies. Myth 1. The Aryans were a single, unified race. The Aryans were not a distinct racial group. Linguistically, Aryan refers to speakers of indo-Iranian languages, not a biologically homogeneous race. Genetic studies reveal that Aryan migrations involved diverse, multi-ethnic groups, particularly in South Asia and Iran. The Indo-European language family includes speakers across Europe, the Middle East, and South Asia, showcasing cultural and genetic diversity. Myth 2. The Aryan invasion theory. Early scholars proposed an Aryan invasion theory, suggesting that nomadic Aryans violently displaced the Indus Valley civilization. Modern archaeology and genetic research refute this theory, supporting gradual migrations and cultural assimilation instead. Excavations at Rakhigarhi and Dholavira reveal continuity between Harappan and Vedic cultures, indicating interactions rather than large-scale conflict. Myth 3. Misappropriation in modern history. The term Aryan was distorted during the 19th and 20th centuries by racial ideologues in Europe. Nazi propaganda misused the concept to promote racial superiority theories, completely disregarding its linguistic origins. Historians emphasize the importance of separating linguistic studies from racial ideologies to avoid misconceptions and historical inaccuracies. Myth 4. Aryan influence as sole cultural contributor. While the Aryans contributed to Vedic culture, they were not the sole architects of Indian civilization. The Indus Valley Civilization, IVC, laid the foundation for urban planning, water management, and craftsmanship long before Aryan migrations. The interaction between Aryans and indigenous communities led to the fusion of cultural elements evident in later Indian traditions. The legacy of the Aryan civilization. The Aryan influence endures in languages, Sanskrit's impact on Hindi, Bengali, and Punjabi. Religious practices, Hindu rituals and philosophical concepts. Cultural frameworks, the Vedic principles of social order and law. The Aryan civilization's legacy spans continents and centuries, from Vedic hymns to modern languages. But how did their migratory patterns shape the evolution of global cultures? And what secrets might still lie buried in the ancient steppes of Central Asia? Stay with us as we continue unraveling the mysteries of the ancient world. Enjoying the journey through history? Make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our community of history enthusiasts. Don't forget to leave a comment below. Tell us what you think, share your favorite historical insights, or suggest a topic you'd love to see us explore. And if you know someone who would love diving into the past, share this video with them. Let's uncover history together.